Hello, and welcome to the Adrienne Ross Show, the basketball edition. So much to get to today, even beyond this particular video. But in this particular video, I want to start off by breaking down where things go in terms of the standings as the WNBA heads into the playoffs. But first, thank you so much to those who subscribe to this channel. We're growing. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that button. Also, I want to say thank you to those who have joined membership. We are growing there as well. And I've got people in rookie, MVP, legend, and GOAT. And thank you all. Thank you for the newcomers in particular. And I just want to shout out in particular by name. I don't know if it's Irina or Urina. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You are the latest member of MVP. So thank you so much. The rest of you, hey, click the join button, see what I'm offering, and I appreciate your support. So now let's get into a few things. First of all, what I'm going to talk about is this final day of the regular season. There are people who are of the idea, of the belief that the Indiana Fever should rest their starters. And I want to address that in a moment. But before I do, let's just talk a little bit about the dynamic of this last game on Thursday, the last games for the WNBA teams. Now, I had originally thought that Connecticut was set in that number 3 spot in the standings, and that the Indiana Fever would definitely be taking on Connecticut. As it turns out, that's not the case. The Las Vegas Aces can actually move up to that 3rd place spot, if I understand correctly. For that to happen, Las Vegas would have to win their final regular season game on Thursday night against the Dallas Wings, and Connecticut would have to lose their game on Thursday night against the Chicago Sky. And so some people would say, well, those two things, both those things, because both of those things have to happen. Those two things are not going to happen because the Aces are not going to lose to Dallas. People are going to believe, and there's definitely a strong argument for that. And they're going to say, well, they're probably not going to lose to Dallas, and Connecticut is probably not going to lose to Chicago. And again, that's Connecticut and Chicago. So once again, we got Kennedy Carter and Marina Mabrey. Woo! But anyway, so there are people going to say that that's not going to happen. The Chicago Sky will not be Connecticut, and so Connecticut will stay in that number 3 spot. But this is where some of those dynamics go. This is where gamesmanship comes in, because people are already talking about teams just sort of riding it out, not going full steam in the last game, especially if their spot is secure. But again, there's a dynamic going on with them. So Las Vegas most likely will be Dallas. I hate to say that because games are won on the court, not on stats, not on the, not on standings, not on the paper. But I mean, they're probably going to win. Now, Connecticut, will Connecticut go full force? Does Connecticut want to stay in the number 3 spot? That's where that gamesmanship comes in. Would Connecticut rather face Indiana in the first round of the playoffs? Or would Connecticut rather be in the 4th spot? And then in that case, they would be playing Seattle, if I have this right. So Connecticut may say, no, we want to be in that 3rd spot. We want to maintain that spot. So we're going to win so that Las Vegas doesn't take us over. But if they are feeling uncomfortable about facing Indiana and Indiana style of play, they might hold back a little bit and not play their starters as much, and then let the chips fall where they may, so that they don't have to face the run, the gun that you're going to get from Indiana. So again, it's all about gamesmanship. But as of right now, Connecticut's in that 3rd spot. Indiana is set in that 6th spot. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. Who's going to go all out? Obviously, I think the Aces will go all out against Dallas. But, do the Aces really want to be in the 3rd spot and face Indiana? I'm going to say they would rather face Indiana than Seattle is my guess, because Indiana, they are the only team Indiana has not beaten all season. So, Thursday does matter for some people, for sure. So now that brings me to this. I was already planning to do a video because I was hearing people say, if I'm Indiana, I'm probably going to hold back a little bit. I'm going to rest Caitlin and Kelsey and Leah, whatever. And we've already secured our spot. We're in the playoffs. We haven't done that since 2016. And let's rest. Let's not risk injury, etc. And so I did a live last night with DePope Be Frank. Make sure you subscribe to his channel if you have not done that, and make sure you watch that live if you haven't done it. And there are plenty of opportunities for you to watch it, because I'm messing around with YouTube last night trying to figure some stuff out. So we got the live version in the live section, but then there's like 2 other copies of it out on YouTube. So you can just pick, watch the live one actually, but you can just pick whichever one you want to watch. It's the same conversation. And so at the end of our live, toward the end, DePope said that if he were Indiana, he would rest, the players, the star players, whatever. And then I said to him, see, I disagree. I said, in fact, I'm planning on doing a video on that. And so what we ended up doing with all the wonderful people who were in the live, we had a great time. I said to him, okay, DePope, I tell you what, you do your video stating why you think Indiana should not go full force on Thursday against the Mystics. And I'll do my video that I was planning to do anyway on why I believe they should go all out in that last game. And I said, and then the people can decide. So you do yours, I'll do mine, and people can decide. And so we had a little bit of fun with that. So I noticed that he already has his video up. I have not watched it yet because that's how I roll a lot of times I won't watch. If I know I'm going to talk on something, I won't watch someone else because I want to be able to present with the integrity of my own thoughts and not be influenced by all the noise. I do the same thing with my writing. So, and I don't always do that, but sometimes I do. And in this case, I said, you know what, I'm just going to wait and see what I'll say what I have to say. He's already said what he has to say. And then we'll figure out a way for you guys to go check him out. Well, obviously you can check this out here, but you want to go to his channel and check it out. And I'd like to figure out a way for you to voice your opinion on, who made the stronger argument. Okay. So let me make my argument. I got to tell you, first of all, yes, this game, it doesn't mean anything in terms of the standings. Indiana, they're in that 6th spot, no matter what. And so I recognize that. But I'm not wired to believe that a game is a throwaway game. Indiana had not made the playoffs since 2016. Right now, their record is 20-19. Okay. So if they choose to just kind of let it go, we've already got our spot. We're going to rest our stars. Then that means they're conceding that they're likely to lose this game against the Mystics. And so they then would have a record of 20-20. So they would end the regular season at 500, which of course is respectable. Washington's record is 13-26. And so one might say, well, they should win that game if they're playing with their starters. But again, you got to get out there and execute. We've seen some close ones where we thought that Indiana should be well ahead and they were not. So they could be 20-20 if they hold back, rest their starters, and just say, we're just going to chill because we got to get ready for the playoffs and we want our bodies intact and all this other stuff. So 20-20. Or they could go full force, make sure they go get that win, and then they end the season at 21-19. Now for me, again, I'm competitive. This is the way I'm wired. There's nothing admirable to me about mediocre when I can be better than mediocre. So yeah, we made the playoffs. We would be 20-20 if we lost on Thursday, and that's respectable. And it certainly means we've come a long way from previous years. But why would I settle for 20-20 when I can go 21-19? I can be average or I could be above average. Again, I could be average or I could be above average. There's nothing in me that's wired to want to be just average. We made it to the playoffs. Not only did we make it to the playoffs, y'all, we made it above. Not only did we get to 500, but we are above. And so for me, whether it's a mental thing, just the competitive thing, whatever it is, those numbers matter to me. And I'm not going to hold back and be mediocre when I can show what we really have and even go above and beyond that. So you might say, well, Adrienne, what about the idea of people getting injured? Well, let's be honest. People can get injured at any time for any reason in any game. So these are athletes. They understand the risk involved. Now, I understand in the preseason, you rest your people who you anticipate to be your starters because you got to get a look at every person, right? I get that, right? And so, yeah, you do that. And then the unwritten rule in basketball, if you're winning by 30 or you're losing by 30, you do pull your starters because what? You don't want anybody to get injured. I get all that because you've got that game in the bag. So this is different to me. This is your last game before the playoffs. This is not time to pull back. This is the time to be playing your best basketball with your best players, and you're going all in. We saw that last game, which was exciting, between the Fever and the Wings. Okay, Caitlin Clark, 35 points. Kelsey Mitchell, 30 points, right? So we saw some great things, but we also saw that we barely won that game. So I'm assuming since Sunday, they've been working on some of those things that they should have not had to be a problem during that game. Some things they need to shore up. They've been working on them. So when would be the time to figure out if you made those adjustments and those improvements? Would the time be in the first game of the playoffs on Sunday? Or would the time be in your next game against Washington? To me, the playoffs, game one, in the best of 3 series, that's too late to figure out that you didn't get it. I want to see it in action. We've been working on it since Sunday. I want to see it in action. And then now what? Now we can do some more tweaking before we get out there and play in the first playoff game we've ever had since 2016. So no, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to play full force, and I'm going to play to win. I'm going to play to win because I want to be playing my best basketball. I want to test out what we've been working on. And you know what? Then we can rest. After Thursday, we've got Friday, we've got Saturday, and we've got to get to it on Sunday. And I don't want to be getting to it because, getting to it like, okay, let's get out there and see if this has been working. No, we've been working on it. Let's play. If you were only supposed to go all out for 39 games, then the regular season would be 39 games. The regular season is 40 games. So play your best basketball with the best opportunities to win, and that includes your best players for 40 games. It's that simple. I do understand that there are going to be people who are going to say, I hear what you're saying, Adrienne, but that's just too big of a risk for a game that doesn't matter. Well, again, that depends on your mindset. In my mind, the game matters. In my mind, it matters because you have done so much to get as far as you can get, to be as successful as you can after some years of just bad basketball. You've turned this thing around. And now at the end, when you want to be playing your best, now you're going to pull back and say, let's just coast into the playoffs. I say absolutely not. Wonderful. You've got 20 wins. You've got 19 losses. Okay. If you lose, now you're 20-20. But if you win, you're 21-19. But even more than the numbers, let's get out there and do what we've been working on since the last game where it was closer than it should have been. So that's my perspective on it. I realize that you might have a different perspective. We'd love to hear it. Like I said, I'm going to see what the Pope put out there. I haven't watched his video yet. You can check out what he put down, what his video is. And after you see what my video is, I don't know, maybe I'll do a post or something and a poll and have you tell us what you think. Whose side? Who you gonna vote for? You gonna vote for the Adrienne Ross Show perspective or the Pope be frank? Let's find out. Lots of fun, good times, good opportunity. Regular season comes to an end. I hope to go live on Thursday during the game. We'll see what happens with that, but I plan to do that. So set your plan to be with me for that. And most likely I'll have some more videos before then anyway. All right. I want to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe. If you have not done so, hit the join button also. Appreciate your support. God bless you abundantly. I'll catch you next time, God willing.